Hi everyone, I'm Heidi from Wright Social, and today I'm humbled to join an extraordinary screenwriter and also movie writer from America, and this gentleman is called Lynch. Ronnie.
Nice to meet you. Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Excellent. It's been so lovely to get to know you over the last few days, because not only do you know storytelling, but you also know how to match storytelling to a conversion value.
Right.
Whereby you're bringing the customer in through imagery, through a visual storytelling, and then having a connection with them and being able to bring them through to a sale.
Right.
So there's conversion in what you do. It's not just writing movies and selling a movie ticket. You've actually brought that concept of storytelling and script writing into the digital realm.
Yeah, I started out as a screenwriter, and I spent a number of years in retail as a retail director in consumer goods businesses. And then I took the screenwriting and the retail business understanding and I moved that into advertising. And so for the last 20 years, actually, I've been strictly writing television and now internet advertising, creating story paths and ad paths sequentially online now. I used to make infomercials, and I still make infomercials sometimes, but we've taken the principle of the length of an infomercial and divided it down into its proper segments, and there are scientific segments. There's infomercials are formulaic, and we've threaded those breadcrumbs, as it were, out online and bring people through a story one ad at a time, pixelating, converting, making a tighter audience as they go along to increase conversions.
Incredible. In your last, I guess, 20 years of being in the movie making industry or script writing industry, have the principles changed to storytelling in those last 20 years?
You know, I think that all good ads always were storytelling. The ads that you remember and are compelling are storytelling, and that's why people like them. They're just short stories. And there's been, over the years, a number of ad campaigns that are threaded stories. Like, here's an example. Right now, Progressive Auto Insurance. I don't know, do you have that in Australia?
A Progressive Auto Insurance, is that, I don't know exactly.
It's an auto insurance company in the US,
Okay.
but they have a character named Flo, and she's in all of their commercials, and the stories kind of continue and elaborate on her eccentric personality. So you get to know this character who represents the company, and over the years she tells these different stories that are generally always about the customer. And I think that that's the trick, is most people and most companies want to tell stories that's about their product. And I like to tell stories that are about the customer that end with the product.
Awesome. So it's sort of getting the customer front and center in your sales strategy or in your storytelling strategy. So it's not the company telling their customer, it's the customer telling the customer. Why is that so powerful?
Because human beings look for their own reflection in the world. When people walk down the street and they look into a department store, yeah, they look at things in the department store, but more people look at their own reflection in the department store window. And we're looking for our reflection in media, and you're hit with 40 to 60,000 media messages every single week, and your brain's an amazing sorting machine, and it's sorting out the stuff that's not relevant or applicable to you and finding something that looks like you, that's about your needs in your world. So if I tap into a world that looks like you, you're much more likely to stop and engage with that content.
Incredible. I recall, I think in your presentation, and it was a few days ago now, when we're all hanging out in Fiji and having just off-the-cuff conversations, so bear with me if I get this wrong.
Right.
But I think you said something along the lines of, we are compelled as humans and how our brains are wired, that if we see someone in the news feed that is looking into the lens, we have to stop and look them in the eye.
Yeah, it's almost rude culturally or as a human being to not make that confrontation and look back at the person. So faces as an opener to any kind of creative tend to work better than objects.
There you go. What about the strategy behind some of the really good ads? Because obviously you're taking the concepts that have worked over years and years and years in movie making and taking those concepts into the digital realm. What are some of the strategies that we need to be thinking about when we're putting together a creative that will not only gain attention but also deliver an action?
Well, I think I'm always looking to educate the consumer, and the easiest way to do that is you take two things that they already know or they already believe and you connect them. So I like humor. I like the idea of humor. We don't necessarily have to tell jokes in it, but humor is when, as a writer or a director or a creative, you take two things that are not necessarily connected and you connect them, and that makes the audience laugh, and it fires a little serotonin and oxytocin and dopamine in the brain, and that creates a neural path in the brain, so a legitimate memory that is now attached to your product. So it makes them feel good, and they remember you. The more frequently you can do that in your creative, the more likely you are to create some sort of emotional bond between your brand, your company, your product, and that customer.
I love the example you gave of the Samsung commercial you delivered with the vacuum cleaner, that you had this baby and red in the background, and you had this baby making a mess but also being playful with this puppy, and then a bit of string falls off the table and rolls and unravels, and then it was all sort of like this fun and games of this baby and this puppy having just the best time, and then all of a sudden this cool music comes in and this vacuum cleaner rolls up, parallels the dog down the hallway, and nearly just scoops up all the mess, but in a really playful, classy and in sync way to, I guess, the playful behavior of this dog and the baby. Now, you told us that that first opening scene was so powerful because people already identified with that scene in a previous movie, which was Ghostbusters.
Yeah, the scene is shot for shot, essentially, like the sequence when the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is revealed, when Ray thinks of the Marshmallow Man and he appears in the streets of New York in Ghostbusters. And we reveal the baby slowly, and we do it in slow motion, just like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. So I'm tying a few things together, something that you recognize that's kind of recorded in your brain, and tying it to a baby, which is kind of fat and roly-poly like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. So there's this an instant dive into the creative, but at the same time it's a baby, and we're trying to sell to females, and a baby and a puppy is something that's going to get a mother or a grandmother's attention. And then the kind of the mayhem of the mess being made turns it into a little bit of either a danger scene or an anger scene. Like that's creating a problem, and potentially a dangerous problem, because we indicate, hey, there's a sewing kit in it. And so you think there might be some tension in it. So we create that tension like you do in a joke. And then you release it by bringing the product in, and the product is the hero and solves the problem for you. And there's that joy because there's some technical specifications that are shown, some benefits that are shown of the product that normal vacuum cleaners don't have. And so it becomes extremely memorable. And it's the kind of commercial that once you see it, the second time it comes on, you tell somebody to come in the room, this is the commercial. This is the one I was telling you about. You've got to see this. It's that kind of a commercial.
That is fantastic. And what did you, I don't know if you're able to share, but what sort of results did you get for this particular company in really honing in on those visual elements and the psychology behind the buyers? Like, you brought that together beautifully. And I think the whole like everybody in the conference, and we're talking some of the top Facebook, YouTube marketers were in this room, and they all applauded at the end of this commercial, because on outset it was just a tape and it was just another ad. But when we understood how this guy, Ronnie, Miracle Maker, was able to learn about the psychology of his target audience and then weave that into the fabric of the storytelling, all of a sudden it all fitted together. And we're like, oh yeah, like this is how it works. Why aren't we doing this in our own ad creators? We need to really get a bit more clever as to how we really hook into the psychology of our customers and bring that out into a storytelling mode. So I'm really interested in the sorts of results that that investment into creative can bring for a business.
Well, there's two things in that. One, it was very profitable. So we sold, let's just say for every time they spent, I'll say $100,000, they made $300,000 or $400,000 in sales. So the ratios were there to make it a functional business. Those aren't the actual numbers, but you can guess, because it's Samsung, there's probably zeros attached to those in some form or fashion.
Sure.
Then the creative, though, itself, you might see a commercial on TV and think, hey, that's really complex, and I don't think I could do that. Well, what is a commercial? It's a series of shots. How do you make the shots? You can make a shot on an iPhone. You can make a shot on a DSLR camera. You can make a shot on a GoPro. It's how well have you thought them through, because a commercial is not a 30-second or 60-second experience. It's a connectivity of a bunch of 2.5-second to 3-second experiences, and stitching them together correctly and just planning really well, thinking things through. It's not like, hey, we got a camera, let's go shoot something today. Plan and execute, write a story, and know what each camera angle is and what you want to convey. Like, make it purposeful. Success isn't, success has never happened to anybody on the face of the planet. Success has been planned by people who are successful. It just doesn't happen by accident. I think that we have an innate feeling to think, oh, people win the lottery and that's how success happens. It's not. People that are successful plan the heck out of it. It's hard work, it's deep thinking, and it involves doing it wrong sometimes. It's not getting attached to, I have to be perfect the first time. No, do something, because every process is a learning process. And I think when we first started talking yesterday, I think the first thing I said was, I didn't get into this room by being the most successful person here.
Yes.
I'm actually the biggest failure, because I've done more things to fail, therefore I've learned more, which is how I end up in the room that way.
And that was awesome for us, because transparency develops trust, and that was really cool. I loved Akbar's comment, and I don't know if it was actually in the conference, but I spoke to him later in a video similar, and he said, you know, take a proven formula and melt your fingerprint into it. So none of this is reinventing the wheel as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
It's really about taking those principles and applying them in the best way that will resonate with your target market and the result you're after.
Yep.
Yeah. There's three, okay, so just, I want to shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
You talked about there's one question.
Oh, the how to close in 3 questions?
That's it, how to close in 3 questions. Thank you for helping me out there. My memory was a little bit fading.
So we have a technique called how you can close anybody in any sale with 3 questions if you ask the right 3 questions. And most people go, what would the right 3 questions be? And it's a technique. So you want to ask maybe at the top of your creative, or think about this, asking your viewer or your customer to kind of lean in. The first question should help them self-identify themselves both in media and either with the pain that your product solves or the hope and promise of your product. So the first question is about pain or promise. Hey, do you have this situation? The second one teases the innovation of your product, how you have a USP, a unique sales proposition, or something that's innovative about your product that they can't get anyplace else. And then the third is teasing the offer. So here we are in Fiji at the Intercontinental Resort, that's it. And it's a beautiful place. And I might, if I created a commercial around here, like on the other side of the film right now, there's kids playing in the pool and families talking and people eating. It's very charming. So my creative might start out with, isn't it time you took your family on a vacation? So now I've pierced your pain with a little bit of guilt because you know you haven't taken your family on vacation for a while. Wouldn't it be great if you could give them the experience of a lifetime in a tropical paradise and have it be completely affordable? Well, right now, if you click below, we have an offer that could take your entire family to Fiji for a fraction of what you think it could cost. Click to find out more.
I love that.
So there's 3 things in that ad, 30 seconds long, or you can make them even shorter and then write ad copy after that.
That is brilliant. What are some of the other brands that you work with or individuals? If you could have, you know, you put a call out there to your ideal customer, who would that be? What would they look like?
I work with all kinds of companies that are just launching products. I help Kickstarter people sometimes, but our corporate clients have included Valvoline and the Sonicare toothbrush and Johnson & Johnson and the Hunter Fan Company and Samsonite and American Tourister and Space Bags. So all kinds of different companies. Companies that sell an innovation that's functional and good and a quality product. So I think that's the #1 thing that marketers miss is they start thinking about how they have to sell the thing that's in front of them. And you don't have to sign up to sell the thing that's in front of you. Sign up to sell good stuff. It makes it so much easier in the long run, because the best part of a sale is not when your customer buys it. It's after your customer buys it and tells a friend how fabulous the experience was, so they become your marketing arm. That's the best advertising you'll ever get.
That is so fantastic. Look, Ronnie, I can't thank you enough. If people want to find out more about you, where can they go? They can visit me at, they can send me an email at ron@BigBabyAgency, or find bigbabyagency.com online, or Big Baby Agency. Facebook is probably actually the easiest, and we have some things if you message our page. We have a good video on there that kind of walks you through some deeper processes about creating ads and creative briefs and strategic briefs, and will help you as an advertiser create these core documents and the core ideas that really drive a campaign and help you land more clients. So we're happy to give that away. So visit us on the Facebook page, watch our video, hopefully you'll share it, and then we'll send you some docs. Awesome, thanks so much. Well,
My
I hope
pleasure.
you have the best rest of the day here.
I will, thank you. I'm going to go get on an airplane and go fly back to Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's it. All right, we better
All right.
get in the taxi, hey?
Thank you.
See ya.